Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we are here live at the Build studio in New York City, and I am joined by a collection of truly dedicated fans who braved the storm to be here with us today because they know the chance to hang out with our next two guests far outweighs some damp socks and a little walk in the rain, all right? It's going to take a lot more than that to keep you guys away because Maia and Alex Shibutani are here. The ShibSibs are in the house. How do we feel about that? Come on now, that's... All right, perfect. Now, with 4 Olympic bronze medals between the two of them, the Shibutanis have emerged from the 2018 Winter Olympic Games victorious, breaking records and making history along the way. They became the first U.S. siblings to win an Olympic ice dance medal. They were also the first dancers of Asian descent to win medals at an Olympics via the team event. And because of their prolific posting and content creation on social media, you already knew all of those things. But now they are here on Build. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise! Shibutani! I'll wait. Come on, come on.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us today.
Oh, thank you so much for carving time out of your busy schedule to come here and hang out with us. It means a ton. We are honored to have you here with us today. And congratulations. Look at you carrying them. You just got them in your hands, just holding them.
Thank you. Yeah,
Look
we're
at that.
so happy to be here.
It's amazing. Have you let go of them since you won them?
We have had to, but I mean, it's just such an honor to have Olympic medals. We've worked so hard for this, and we're going to try to take as good care of them as we can.
It's fantastic. Is this the preferred method of transportation? We just, both one hand, you got them, you just keep them locked?
They've got some weight to them.
Yeah.
But just carefully holding them.
We're going to have to develop a better carrying method than just holding on to them in public. Maybe a carrying case or something.
I don't know, man. Here's the only thing I'd suggest, having zero experience in this, mind you. But they seem awfully heavy. Alternate arms. You don't want to build up, right?
Sure, balance.
Oh, see, immediately, I can't, yeah, that's the level of athleticism that we're dealing with. I can't even say the word. This is amazing. This is absolutely unbelievable. I want to talk a lot about this. I want to talk about the road that led to this. I'm going to give this back to you because I don't feel particularly worthy. But that is amazing, and thank you for that opportunity. Before we get into any of that, before we tackle those questions that you've answered a trillion times already, let's start with some simple ones. How are you guys doing? How's Maia? How's Alex? Just how are you?
Thanks for asking us individually. Yeah. Collectively, though.
How are the ShibSibs?
Yeah.
We're 2 different people.
Yeah.
With different ideas and opinions about things.
But generally, collectively, between the 2 of us. But back to me. Let's keep it separate.
I'm going to start here.
Let's keep it separate. I'm doing really well. It's been amazing. It's been really busy since we got back from Korea on Monday, but it's been all good things, getting all the support, even just walking around on the streets of New York. It's been incredible. Absolutely amazing.
And Alex.
I'm doing really well. It's been amazing. It's been really busy. Oh, you said that? Okay. I'm not doing ourselves a service there. It's been awesome. It was kind of funny. When we were going to get our first medal at the awards plaza, we were talking to our teammates in the team event, and I was just curious. I was like, how's everyone feeling? And Chris Knierim, one of our teammates, was like, this is so cool. And you can't really verbalize anything other than that. It was a really cool moment, a really cool experience. Everyone's worked so hard for this. And for us, the ShibSibs, having done it together for 14 years, we've experienced so much. And we're so grateful for the opportunity that we had. And going forward, it's pretty exciting.
It's amazing. 14 years. You know, I was talking about this yesterday. We had Red Gerard and Jesse Deegans were here as well. And you guys, you train a majority of your waking hours. In all the training in the world, no matter what you do, none of it necessarily, we were saying for them, prepares you for the aftermath, for the press, for the endless tours, for the medals. But I do feel like you guys in particular have kind of in your own way sort of been training for this moment for a long time. What with all the YouTube channel, all this sort of stuff. Has it felt second nature? Has it always been easy for you guys? I mean, second only to maybe Adam Ribbon. You guys are so comfortable on camera and so much fun to watch. Has it always felt that way? And we can answer individually, of course.
Thank you.
Do you want to start, Alex?
This has been on my vision board since I was 6 years old. No, I mean, we've grown up in the generation that evolved with social media. I remember having to lie about my age to get on Facebook. And storytelling is something that we both have always been really interested in and passionate about. When we were younger, just starting off in skating, I was interested in being a sports journalist, and so we would blog. And back when, do you remember flip video cameras? We would vlog on flip video cameras, and it's just evolved and developed, and we really we have our YouTube channel and we do different things, but it always kind of comes back to our skating. We're able to learn a lot from that.
Yeah, like Alex said, we're quite active on social media, but it's because we enjoy it. We appreciate the fact that social media allows us to really connect with anyone and everyone. And the Olympic Games is so special because Alex and I have been skating every year for the past 14 years, but there's something about the Olympics that draws in that new and different audience, so it's been amazing for us to kind of introduce ourselves and our sport to the world.
Well, let's talk about what's special about the Olympics, right? Because this is your second Olympic Games, and you guys, 4 years ago, you were in the top 10, second youngest competing. Still a monumental visit, but now this one, obviously, there's some big differences between the two. But what's something about going into these games that you were surprised by, that maybe you thought, I got a grip on this, I've done this once before, but then you got there and your eyes were open. Oh, this is blown away. This is different than I expected.
I wish I could say I was blown away. On the ice, we've evolved so much over the past 4 years. We were really prepared going into this competition, and that's something that we attribute to ourselves and experience, but also our coaches and the people that were preparing us. But every experience from Sochi to PyeongChang has built us to the point where we knew that when we were going to step out on Olympic ice, we would be ready to deliver. The one thing that's different about the Olympics than any other competition is figure skating competitions, there's kind of an etiquette. People understand kind of how to behave and react to performances. At the Olympic Games, you have people from all over the world. Some hockey fans had tickets, and it sounded like we were at a hockey game. And so that extra decibel level of energy was something that maybe we weren't fully expecting until we were actually in that moment.
Yeah, there's really nothing like being backstage and you can hear the audience already before you're even out there. That was a different experience for us compared to other competitions, but it was exciting.
What does that do for you once you hit the ice? Is the adrenaline pumping at a whole new level now? Do you have to focus a little extra hard? Do you have to try to filter that out and this is just another, you can't think of that. This is another time on the ice. This is something we've prepared for. It's just another skate. Is that kind of how you got to go?
Well, it's really about being in the moment, and going in, you kind of have that game plan of, okay, let's just act like this is like any other skate. But then once you're there in the Olympic environment, it's inevitable that you're going to feel the pressure. The Olympic rings are everywhere. The audience is going insane. Exactly. That's not like every other skating competition. But for us, it's really important that we just stay grounded and trust our training and enjoy the moment that we've been training for so long.
We have friends in skating who have sort of told us that their coaches in the past maybe have said, just pretend like there's no one there. Like, don't pretend that no one's watching. And that's not why we started skating. We love to skate. We love watching skating on television because we understood that it was a really special moment. Like the surface of ice that you're on, it's like you're under a microscope. That you have the audience, you have people watching around the world, and that adds to the stakes. And that excited us when we were 4 and 7 years old when we were watching the Olympics. And you work so hard to get to the point where you can experience that. And so even if it's a little bit more energy than you're used to, you embrace it and you channel that into your performance.
I want to dig a little deeper. We very lightly touched on the social media aspect. I don't want to go too crazy on it, but there is something, because you guys are kind of at the forefront of something. You're sort of the first to allow your fans in at this level, for people to have this kind of access to an Olympian. It's unprecedented. It's brand new territory. You've been doing skating for 14 years. Do you remember when you started to fold in the social media elements? Was it as prominent for you 4 years ago when you were in Sochi? Is it bigger this time around? How's that felt? How's that been? What do you remember?
I think it's fair to say that social media and technology is changing so quickly. So I think at the time we were just as involved in 2014, but now with all the different platforms and accounts, maybe we're a bit busier.
We're just getting better at everything, I think. I mean, the landscape constantly adjusts and changes, and who was to say that Instagram would have filters 4 years ago? Things, and not that that's the staple of our social media game, but I mean, I think it's just an opportunity to express yourself and inspire the next generation. When we were kids watching television, we were relying on the broadcast network to tell us the story, and we weren't hearing from the athletes. And I think that we have the opportunity to do that now.
And actually something that's different compared to before 2014, about a year before this Olympics, Alex and I kind of really opened up in our vlogs more about our process and the training and travel, whereas before we'd maybe just show parts of competitions or other events. So it felt important that we kind of share some of the work that goes on behind the scenes.
Well, and that's what I loved about the vlogging and kind of you guys as individuals, the fact that you made yourself open and vulnerable to your fans. It mirrors the performance that you do on the ice and the pieces that you put together, because where other people will rely on classic movie storylines and all these sort of things, you guys are doing way more personal stories and opening up about yourselves and telling stories about yourselves through your performance. So I thought there was something very poetic about that and something that made a lot of sense, that these are, of course, you're letting your fans in and seeing this side of you. Do you consider that an advantage or disadvantage? That's how you're approaching it. You guys are doing these types of stories.
For us, I think it's a huge advantage. Our approach changed, and we really focused in on who we were about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and that's completely changed the trajectory of what is possible for us, both on and off the ice.
Even though we developed these programs with the intention of it being personal, because we are trying to be authentic to ourselves, and we realize that because we're different, we have a unique and important story to tell, or we have the opportunity to tell that story with our skating. We are also aware of not internalizing it too much, because at the end of the day, when people are watching the Olympics, they maybe haven't heard of us before, or maybe they've never watched a figure skating competition before. And so picking themes that are universal and ideas that can impact people all over the world, that's part of coming up with a really successful skating program.
So that's interesting. So you definitely take a different approach going into the Olympics than you do any other competition, not just because it's the Olympics, but you have to consider all these things, the audience, the amount of people, where the people are coming from, and all these different types of things. So that's got to be really exciting. That happens once every 4 years. It changes up your whole game. Obviously, you anticipate that. Do you have any tricks that you had in the back pocket, things like, all right, we did this at Sochi. I know it's 4 years later, but this really worked out for us. Let's take it from this angle. Let's try this.
Well, I guess to reiterate, it is a slightly different approach every Olympic season than the other 3 years, but it's not for a competitive purpose. With skating, it's not like the judges are new judges for the Olympics. It's the same people that have been judging us for the past 4 years.
It's not like you suddenly have new competitors that materialize and you've never seen them before.
Yeah, but we see the Olympics as an opportunity because it is such a global event. There are so few events today where everyone is tuning in and experiencing something together. You know, I watched Stranger Things 2 a week after everyone else had watched it, and I felt really left out, and things had been spoiled for me, and it sucked. Yeah, but the Olympics, it's prime time, it's exciting, it's happening now, and the crazy thing is, it's not like a movie or a TV show where maybe you know the actors. These are people that you've never heard of before. You're watching curling. Those guys are awesome, but no one's heard of them before. No one knows anything about curling. You're learning about the people and the sport as you go along. And so for us, because we have these amazing tools in figure skating like music and choreography, and we're in charge of producing our own movie, I'm kind of making an analogy here, because we're in charge of that, it's up to us in order to improve the future of our sport and grow the visibility of our sport that we're able to draw a connection to what other people around the world are used to. And so skating has this tremendous history, but someone who watched skating 12 years ago might have expected going into this games that things wouldn't have changed that much. Maybe athletes are a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, but we will see a classical piece of music and we will see a skater that looks like the skater from 12 years ago. Maia and I don't look like anyone that's come before us in ice dance. And we're skating to music that hasn't been used before in ice dance, and that's an opportunity that we wanted to take advantage of.
Yeah. Well, one of the beautiful thing, the piece that you done, your Paradise piece, was at the end of a trilogy, a culmination of a trilogy. Did you know it was a trilogy when you started it 3 years ago? Did it start that way? Was it conceived of as a trilogy?
It started off with, the first part was When We Skate to Fix You by Coldplay. And I'd say it was probably following that season as we were starting to develop year 2, which was Evolution, that we started to really think about it being a trilogy, because it was with Fix You that we decided to make our skating very personal. And it felt kind of like a risk, because you're out there, you're being judged, and if we're being ourselves, then you're really being judged. Yeah. But it felt like it was the necessary step that we had to take just so that we could be entirely committed to what we were doing, and then also just, it's such a hard process, but for us, that's what it took for us to be fully in love with everything.
When you guys are collaborating and you're doing that, are there certain roles that you fall into? Like, you know you can rely on Maia for this, and Maia, you know you can rely on Alex to bring this to the table and stuff like that?
Yeah, we both have different skill sets, and we're different people, obviously. And so what makes us a strong team is the way that we collaborate and the way that we communicate and work together. Every decision that we make runs through us, which is maybe a little unusual and different from how a lot of other skaters approach their work. We've developed sort of the point of view over the course of our career where we feel more emboldened when we have control. And so we appreciate all of the input that we receive from so many different sources. But if Maia and I aren't really feeling it, we know that that will become apparent and visible when we're on the ice. As far as how we delegate the decision-making and the choices, nothing would get done if I didn't have the executive producer, Maia Shibutani. I have a lot of ideas. And, you know, I'll come up with 100 ideas, and maybe 2 of them will stick to the wall.
Yeah, Alex is really creative. He's good.
But I mean, you know, that's the other thing. Collaboration in any field is so important. The more ideas that you throw out there, we have this saying where, well, it's not our saying, but, you know, no idea is a bad idea, because if everyone is open-minded and willing to listen, that's how we come up with great work.
And for us, collaboration has been so important, because we have amazing coaches, and we've sought out the advice of people that we really admire and have people that have inspired us. But really, like Alex said, it's come down to the 2 of us being fully in charge of what we're doing on the ice, and I think that you can see that confidence when we're competing.
If you don't mind, can I double back? So Maia was talking about, I almost dropped my medal. Okay.
Put something on those things.
I know.
So it's like wear it or
double stick tape or something. No, Maia was talking about the trilogy. And, you know, I'll try to make another analogy for people who, because when we start talking about, like, skating, it gets a little inside baseball. That's a term, not talking about baseball. But I guess we'll compare the first part of the trilogy, when we started skating to Fix You, to television series, right? We had written and designed this story that we wanted to tell. It was a personal story, and we just wanted it to get picked up. We wanted it to get appreciated. We hoped that maybe we could make a second season of it, and that's kind of how it worked. There was no grand design at the very beginning. Just like life, you know, things happen, and we had to adjust on the fly a little bit. And it was after the incredible success, you know, we won an Emmy Award or something for our first year. And it was incredibly successful, and we figured, well, this thing has legs. And so let's figure out how to develop it and grow. And we knew that we had 2 more years. And so a lot of the great stories that I grew up, not Harry Potter, that's not a trilogy, but like Lord of the Rings, that's a trilogy. Stories are told in parts. There needs to be character development. And because we were dealing with 2 characters that were ourselves, we knew that we had the potential to come up with something completely different than what had ever been done before.
That right there, the way that in which you process your thoughts and explain things and communicate things is so heavily influenced by entertainment, by television, by movies. It kind of speaks to part of what's so fun about you guys is your grasp on media, not just social media, but how media works. You even took over your own segment on NBC. Like, did they pitch that to you, or was that your idea of, like, guys, we got this? I feel like it's something a producer comes over and goes, you know, you guys are really good at this. You should do it. But, like, regardless of where the idea came from, that was tons of fun to watch. How did that come about, and was that fun for you to do? Because it looked like it was fun to, like, take over the NBC segment crew and just do your own video.
We had an amazing producer. It was her idea. Kristen is fantastic. But it was something where it was comfortable, and the crew was so amazing, where it was just kind of a different angle.
It was inspired by, I think, you know, the way that we sort of use YouTube. They knew that we're comfortable holding a camera up to our faces and talking to a camera. And there was a point where we were a little bit concerned that for people who are not familiar with YouTube,
should we really be adjusting the lights when we
vlog
don't know what
culture,
we're
we
doing?
would come off as like jerks. You know, these are professionals who know how to handle lights and audio. And we were worried that it was going to come across as a little bit like, I don't know, over the top. But it turned out great. Yeah, we were very happy with it.
I thought it was really funny. You didn't come off as jerks at all. It was very endearing. I would imagine for you guys, like as people that are building a brand collectively, that's a risky move to take. Because it's like, well, we don't want to come off as inauthentic. Like we've worked really hard to be ourselves, and you know, you're partnering with any large company. You always worry about, am I going to be able to be true to my? And I thought you guys came through, having watched both your YouTube videos and seen that. It didn't feel weird. You didn't come off as jerks. You should feel good about it.
Thank you.
Of all the things you've done at the Olympics, that's the one you should feel the best about and be the most proud of. Honestly,
Pat yourself on the back, Maia.
I got to tell you, that segment. We're going to go to the audience in a second. I got a couple other questions before we do. I was really curious because we've talked about how prolific you are in your social media. You know, you each have a Twitter account, plus you have the group Twitter account. You've got Instagram. You've got the YouTube. Everything you can possibly have. Do you have control over all of those? One. And two, does it ever get difficult to balance the social media responsibilities and the professional athlete responsibilities simultaneously?
Yes, we do have control over every single account. So as far as balancing, I mean, people that have been following us will notice that we have this joke where it's like, yes, we have a video coming out sometime. We don't have a set schedule, really, but we're doing our best.
Because we do everything ourselves,
Yeah.
and it's been very important to us. Well, okay, so it's two-part. It's really important to us that we are authentic with our own voice, and that, I don't know, I wouldn't be comfortable with someone else taking care of that stuff for us because it's always been how we've done it. And the other part is no one has approached us to help me edit the videos. So if you know anyone, I'd really appreciate it. I've got like 3 Olympic videos that need to get edited somehow. But, whoa, almost did it again.
Oh my God.
And so what was the first part of the...
How do we balance it?
How do we balance it? Okay, so we both believe that being an athlete, an elite athlete, whether it's the Olympics or professional, and every person deals with social media in a different way. But for us, coming from a smaller sport, I know figure skating is one of the marquee events of the Winter Olympics, but in the context of America and the sports that are most popular and most followed, we have to do as much as we can as leaders and at the top of our discipline and the top of our sport to grow it and promote it. And so being an elite athlete and being vocal and involved with social media is one and the same. I don't feel like it's two separate things.
And something else that we realized is that once we started being ourselves on the ice, and since we completely control everything with our social media and our videos, the creativity that we had to work on for both, it just assisted each thing.
And
right?
it's a way, social media isn't just a way to, like, you know, peddle our YouTube videos. It's a way to talk about things that we really care about. The Olympics have been an incredible life-changing thing for us. The first time it keyed sort of the transition that we made over the past 4 years to where we are now. And going forward, it'll continue to be a huge part of our lives. So being able to share the messages and the important lessons that we've learned with people, and I think whether it's kids or adults, a lot of people could stand to learn about working together and caring about one another and respecting each other. It's really important to us.
For sure. The last thing that kind of ties into sort of being aware and owning that responsibility, something I saw you guys tweeted sort of the conclusion of, which is a very cool thing you did, which was the meeting of the Korean students that you had worked with, that you had videoed with forever, and then you finally got to meet them in person and surprise them. It's an amazing video, amazing moment, so cool. Just if you could speak to what that was like to walk into that room and meet all those children that you'd been talking to and kind of gotten to know over those months. Maia, I'd love to start with you.
That was one of the most impactful moments of my entire life. We started working with a middle school class in Korea in August, and so for the past 6 months, once a month we've been working with them over video chat, which is very technologically savvy and cool because without the Olympics or without technology, we wouldn't have had the chance to connect with them. But then they came to our free dance for the individual event. We knew that they were there. We saw on Instagram stories that they were getting their tickets to come into the venue. We saw that they were so excited. And just seeing them there before we skated, it was incredible because with the program, we spoke about what your dreams are or what are goals that you set and how do you go about achieving your goal. And so for us to be competing at the Olympic Games, one of the highest pressure moments of our lives, but to do it and to try and set an example for them to show that really anything is possible if you believe in yourself was incredible. And then a few days following our event, we met them in person, and I was just crying. I couldn't stop crying. They're like, Maya, please don't cry. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm so happy, but it was just overwhelming.
So amazing. Alex, what?
It's just a reminder that as an Olympic athlete, while so much attention gets put on our story, and you see the things on NBC, and everyone's trying to make the athletes a star, no athlete is bigger than the Olympic Games and the value that they bring to the world. And you're a part of this thing that's much bigger than yourself. The Olympics are more than just the performances, the athleticism, the sports themselves. It's about our future. Sports bring such value to life, and to be able to meet these students, we left Korea feeling like we learned so much more from them than we were able to impart even during our video calls in the 6 months leading up to the games. And they will forever be linked to our lives. We will be forever linked to them, because on sort of in the final moments before we were about to take the ice for what would be the most important skate of our lives to this point, they were there, and they were wearing, did you guys see the Olympic mascot, Suhorang? It's really cute, like white tiger. They had these onesie capes, so very easy to spot in the crowd. They were standing up, they made signs. It took us out of a moment where we easily could have been very focused and serious and internalized, and it all being about us, and it reminded me that it has nothing to do with me at the end of the day, that we've worked so hard for this moment, and the medal is great, and it's an amazing symbol of that work, but the ability that we have to inspire others is so much more valuable and important.
Amazing. Well, thank you for a multitude of things, for being here, for all of the amazing things you've done and the incredible work and the way you inspire everybody and being awesome people. And congratulations on everything you've achieved. It's incredible, guys. I could ask you a million more questions. I could talk to you all day, but I would be doing a disservice to our wonderful crowd here. I want to get some questions from the audience. We've got a microphone or two out there. First one's going to be right here.
Okay. Thank you for coming. My question is, so I've heard that the dining halls in PyeongChang are open 24 hours. What is the best food that you've eaten there?
They were open 24 hours, which was really convenient. I'd say it was busy 24 hours just because everyone had different schedules, but what was the thing that you hit up a lot?
Oh, well, I'll start by saying, actually, that the Olympics are really cool. We walked into the village for the first time, and it was the first time we had been back at the game since 2014. We haven't found a summer sport to participate in yet. But the coolest thing is that, well, fashion influences the Olympics, obviously, because of the team jackets. And it felt like this year in particular was a little retro. And so all the countries had, you see the jackets, different colors representing the flags. It's so cool. It's like, I don't know, Cool Runnings. If you watch Cool Runnings and you see people walking around the village in their jackets, I felt like it was that. And the dining hall is the one place where you see everyone together at one time. To answer your question, the food was great. They tried to make it as, diverse. The offerings as diverse as possible, depending on your dietary restrictions or where you come from in the world. If you're from Italy and you only eat pasta and
pizza, they have that for you.
They have.
Italian, I can vouch. That's all we eat.
There you go. Yeah. So we know what station you'd be at.
Exactly,
but they have a stir fry station. They have all these different options. They have fresh fruit and vegetables. There was a McDonald's at the Athletes Village as well. Very popular for the coffee. Mm-hmm. I did not eat a lot of McDonald's until after we were done. That was a different story.
But you'd make your own bowls.
Yeah, that's right. The MVP for me was the bibimbap station, where they had a bowl and you were able to basically, for food safety reasons, you do not kind of grab the food yourself. Someone does it for you. But I thought,
still,
yeah, It was cool.
What goes in it?
Yeah, I mean,
Making your own bowl?
it was very easy to remind myself
Fun
that I was in
experience.
Korea
That's amazing.
eating bibimbap. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Did you want to add anything else?
No, I think Alex really covered it, but it's the gym, it's the dining hall, because all the venues are spread out, but those are the two places where you really can feel like everyone's on a level playing field and you can just start a conversation with anyone.
For 2.5 weeks, it's the coolest place to eat, and it's the coolest place to work out in the entire world.
That's amazing. We got time for another couple questions. Next one's right here.
Much respect to you guys. You just gained a new fan. What's next in your careers, like after figure skating?
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We don't know. We have a lot of interests. I think that because skating combines art and athleticism and music and so many different things, we have a lot of interests. I'm making a lot of analogies to TV shows and movies. At some point, we know that our skating career will end because there's a limit to the amount of time that you can hurt your body as much as we do on a regular basis. But we're such a good team. I think that we'll be able to work together for the rest of our lives, hopefully.
And if not, at least we'll still be friends.
Yeah, we'll still be friends. That's the other thing. People ask us, like, oh, do you guys fight? And we do. We're normal, and in any relationship, there are going to be disagreements, especially when the stakes are so high. But I think that the thing that we've found is that we know that we're always going to be siblings. We can't, like, get rid of that. And so even if we stop skating together, we'd still be connected in that way. And I think when we realize that, it's like, okay, like, we can get over this together. I'd love to do something in entertainment, whether it be acting, directing, producing. I feel like to a certain degree, that's what we've been learning how to do in a different medium in figure skating. But for now, we're still young, and skating is still a huge part of our lives.
So we know, Alex, that you want to do something in entertainment. Maya, do you share that interest? Do you want to do something in entertainment as well? Or have you thought of pursuing something that maybe Alex doesn't want to pursue? Is that one of those fights that you've had as normal people?
I think, like he was saying, we might be stuck with each other for the foreseeable future.
Especially the ShibSibs thing keeps going.
I'm sorry, I dropped 2 of them in the
People might forget our names.
No, I think entertainment is a direction that we both want to head in, but then also I'd want to expand that to travel, because with our sport, we've been able to travel all around the world, but we haven't necessarily been able to see a lot, but we've really enjoyed and learned so much from meeting new people and learning about different cultures, so maybe we can do a better job vlogging about it.
And also, I think more significantly, travel would be amazing, but the opportunity and the experience that we had with the students in Korea, and now that we have, I mean, we were Olympians going into this games, but now as 2-time medalists, I think the biggest value add that brings to our lives is maybe further opportunities to be able to help people in a real way. And so continuing to do mentoring programs like that and travel to different places in the world and tell our story and figure out ways that we can help others, that'd be great.
Be amazing. Dude, there's like 15 or 20 different shows on Netflix where people just go around eating food. I'm pretty sure you can get somebody to pay for you guys to go around and mentor students, because that I would watch that all day. That'd be amazing.
That'd be
I think
fun.
we'd all watch that, right? There we go. That's at least 30, 40 people right there that are going to watch that show.
Okay.
You're on your way. We've got time for one more, and it's going to be right over here.
Hi, so as someone with an older brother myself, I know you guys mentioned this earlier, but you guys probably had your ups and downs. If you happened to like fight right before your competition, what did you guys do to like resolve that?
We've skated angry before.
Yeah, but then what happens is that we skate really well because no one wants to be
The
blamed,
one.
right? It's like, I'm not going to be the one that messed that up.
I mean, we've never skated angry at a competition, but we've skated angry in training. Like, we'll have to do a run through of our program, and just the tension, the stubbornness, like, we could be exhausted, but like, we'll skate amazing. I think the thing that we always do, people ask us tonally.
Pre-competition rituals?
Yeah, like, what's your pre-competition ritual? Are you superstitious? We aren't superstitious at all, actually. But the one thing that we know leads to the best skates and the best results is when we're keeping it light. So when we were kids, we would watch DVD and SNL, like Best of Will Ferrell DVD, and we'd laugh, and we'd enjoy ourselves and spending time with each other like we always have. And it would be a reminder that like keeping it light, like that's why we started skating, because it was fun. And just because it's a competition and there's maybe more inherent pressure or stakes, we'll do better if we're just having a good time.
Very cool. Guys, those are phenomenal questions. Thank you so much. And thank you again for being here. This is the last thing I'll ask you before you get out of here. Are you looking forward to doing nothing? You've been so busy doing so all over the world. Is there a part of your brain that can't wait to just watch another show that people have already watched 3 weeks ago, or just sit back and just relax and have a lazy day, or are you wired different?
At some point, we'll take a vacation, but for now, it's just really exciting. I mean, all these opportunities are happening because we just did something that we're really proud of at the Olympics, so.
I mean, The Rock is like our inspiration. The guy's going like 24/7 without sleep, lifting weights, smiling really big, meeting people who support him. His positivity is awesome. And so I'm going to try to keep this going as long as I can. I'm not guaranteeing that I'll like just pass out at some point. I don't know what time it is. I don't really know where we are. AOL Build Series, New York City, right?
Crushing it. Crushing it right now. You're doing it. Yeah. Well, look, thank you one last time for being here and hanging out with us. Thank you guys for your questions. Congratulations on everything. I look forward to seeing whatever you guys produce and bring to the table next. I know it's going to be amazing. I'm excited about those videos you got to get edited. There's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to look forward to. I couldn't be happier for you guys, and I couldn't be more honored to have you here on our stage. Thanks again. Make some noise, please, for Maia and Alex.
Thank you,
Shibutani.
guys.